fight fan. Dumb fight fans.
To the Fighters Boys Kick-Ass Podcast. Your Fight Talk Authority. Not to mention the most entertaining and talked about podcast with your kick-ass host, Richard ORTIZ.
You mad? Come at me, bro.
And his loyal kick-ass co-host, Senor Cole ESCOVEDO. Streaming live and worldwide. Coming to you all the way live from a little place somewhere in Cali. The Fighters Boys
Kick-Ass Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live here with the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. We got a great show for you today. With us today, we have one of the originators, one of the first in the last, and now he's stuck right in the middle of everything. When I say everything, I'm talking about MMA, I'm talking about boxing, I'm talking about matchmaking, I'm talking about making personal calls to fighters, helping them out with a great line. It's called DogBoxer. We got tape. We got the shirts, the hat. We have the gear for the fighters. You know, I can go on and on, but I'm just going to let our guests tell you, the viewers, the fans, and the followers exactly what we got going on. Because my man just don't got gear. I mean, he's stuck right in the middle of the sweet science and also the cage. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today with DogBoxer gear, Eric Hernandez. Welcome to the show, Eric. How are we doing, my man?
What's going on, brother? I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Hey, you know what? I just want to move on, but I got to let everybody know. Guys, before we went on air, my man Eric was just flexing on me. I mean, flexing. That was okay because I got some stuff, you know, that's there in the archives, but I never flex it. But Eric, I mean, serious. You had the WBC bout. You had the gloves that were stuck in the middle of I want to say a victory, but I want to say, what's the right word? Conspiracy? I mean, you name it, it was there. You got some of the cast from some of the Cotto fight. I mean, my man, you got some goods behind you.
No, it's definitely the winning gloves that should have been.
No, well, there you go. Yes, I remember you have access to all that good stuff. I want to tell everybody exactly what you do, but I want to break out this apparel line right now. I want to know where we got the name DogBoxer, where it started from, the American Pet Bull Terror, and I want to find out exactly the whole story behind it, because you seem to change gears whenever I talk to you about that. I mean, you turn into, Eric, okay, I'm dead serious. Let's talk about this.
So, I mean, the gear originated with Lance Foreman and Gavin Lewis, who's one of the originators of War Tape, and then myself. And it originally was just a combat gear. It was geared towards the fighters, but it was more, you know, mostly geared because of the love for the Pet Bull Terriers. And we were able to market it just right. We were, you know, Lance Foreman being the manager for Ken Shamrock, Gavin being in the middle of, I mean, having, you know, one of the best tapes out there, and then myself, you know, being so involved with boxing just in general. We were just able to market it just right. We had the right amount of people wearing it. We sponsored a lot of the up and comers that ended up being champions and whatnot, and it just blew up. I think originally Lance's idea for it was more to give more showmanship for the dogs, to let them know, hey, you know, these are the dogs, this is the bloodline. I mean, we can trace back the bloodline all the way back to the late 1800s, and those dogs just carried on and on and on. A lot of the major heavyweight champions owned them. Even to this day, a lot of the champions own them, and the breed itself we were very proud of, and it just kind of came about with the gear. You know, it hung on, and people who had the dogs and wanted the dogs were all about the gear. And again, they were all in the fight game, so it was, well, let's just, you know, slap a decal on your shorts and let's roll with it. And what ended up being one little decal ended up turning into huge banners, ended up turning into promotional co-promoting and you know, management on some fighters' ends, and now DogBoxer Academy, the gym. So it kind of just evolved. You know, it just went into a lot of bigger things. Right now, the biggest thing that we're really trying to throw out there is our CBD line. We hooked up with Rick's Magic Bomb. A lot of the fighters, you know, they love CBD. They're all about it, and we believe in it 100%. So we definitely jumped into that line and said, hey, this is where we're going to be at. You know, I think we're more well known out there for you know, the hand wraps and whatnot.
The hand wraps.
Yeah, you know, we have the tape coming out. You know, see people sporting that. Even I'm surprised at times. You know, Sugar Ray Leonard, Holyfield. You got all these guys that are wearing the shirt that half the time I don't even know how they got the shirt, but proud that they're wearing it, proud that they're sporting it, you know, giving the love that they give and whatnot.
I see Ellie Setback all the time. I mean, he's rocking that stuff all the time, and he is definitely the GOAT when it comes to media. So if he's rocking your gear, he believes in it and he likes it.
No, definitely. He's one of those guys too. He's always given us love. He's always shot us out whenever. We have a really big banner at the RGBA gym, and he's always making sure that's in video and whatnot. And, you know, he's always shown us love. We've always shot him gear. He's always represented it. He's the one that really, he gets all the, you know, the money shots with it. You know, he posing with some of the top guys that he's interviewing. He always makes sure that the logo's out there.
Yeah. Nate Diaz, I've seen him with that stuff with Ali. And I mean, your product is growing and it's out there, especially when people just wear it without you even twisting their arm or, hey, would you please wear it? They wear it for the love of it, what it stands for, and just the look. It has a cool look to it. And right now that term dog, if you're called a dog inside the gym, you're basically a badass.
Right. And the whole dog boxer thing, really, it's a style of boxing. It's a style of MMA fighting. You know, when not that we're all about it or anything, but, you know, when the dogs used to fight back in the day, they stayed at the center of the ring. And that's a boxing style. That's a different style that not a lot of people have. And it's something that I honed. It's something that I wanted people to train in. And it's definitely a style that we really promoted out there and just said, hey, you know, dog boxer is the style of fighting and whatnot. And it kind of stuck.
You know what? We got to put together a shirt, man, because a lot of people during boxing or fighting, they'll either have the roosters there. And then they'll play with pigeons just to calm them down. But then you got the kangaroos as well in Australia. And then we got to have a scene where the dog boxer just walks away, being victorious after beating all of them. Something that, you know what I mean? I mean, because dog boxer, it's happening, man. I mean, it really is. You got a version of it that's the Mexican version. I've seen those colors. The American, yellow. I mean, you know, I saw Ali Setback wearing a sweatshirt, man. It was gold. It was nice. Yeah. I mean,
we have pretty much every country you can think of. We have it. We just don't really show it out too much. We try to save it. You know, the Mexican colors came out during the Cinco de Mayo thing, during the September fights as well. We try to promote it when we want to and when we can, but we usually try to save it for certain fighters, and then we let them, you know, kind of show it out and whatnot.
So that started in was it 2007, correct?
Right. That in 2007 is when we really just said, all right, let's see what we can do with this. I mean, the brand had already kind of did its thing. The dogs were definitely doing their thing, and we all kind of just honed it and just said, okay, well, what next? You know, and Gavin, he's just a master marketing genius, and big shout out to Gavin. He really just sat me down and just said, look, let's do something with this. Let's really throw it out there. And people were already, you know, calling me dog boxer and whatnot. So it kind of just stood out, like, you know, be the face of it, just really throw it out there, do something with it. And, you know, I was already sporting it, wear it in and whatnot, but I was just really hidden with it. You know, it was just kind of like, you know, I'm a very behind the curtain kind of guy. I don't like being in the limelight. I don't like doing interviews. I don't really like doing a lot of this stuff. I'm very in behind the scenes type guy, and I kept, you know, Gavin just kept gunning it. It was like, dude, you really got to do something with this. You know, you've got the connections, you definitely got the following, and do something with it. And originally it was just the DogBoxer logo, the original logo. God, I don't even think I have anything with it. It was just it just had the dog's face and the DogBoxer on the bottom, and we slapped it on a few shirts, and I wore it to a few fights, and before I knew it, the website blew up, and Lance and them were like, hey man, Vegas is blowing up, they want it. And we just really started producing a lot of it. And we had already done some other collabs in the past with it, but we decided, okay, we're going to do our own thing. And you know, Gavin, being the genius that he is, was like, I'm going to redesign the whole logo. And that's the circle logo that you see now. And man, it just came out amazing. And that logo right there, it blew up. I mean, it really blew up.
Well, you guys are growing and you're expanding and you're staying up for the times, because I mean, you got the oil, and what you need to get, man, is maybe some of that sweat cream, man, and maybe dip into some vitamins or something. But I'm sure you guys have already thought about that, and you're probably working on it as we speak.
We literally have a whole CBD line. I'm not going to say it's going to come out anytime soon, but you would be surprised how much CBD product there is. It was a culture shock for me. I'm not a big, I wasn't into that scene as much as I am now, but Rick's Magic Bomb and Gavin and Lance and all them, they really just kind of introduced me to it. There's a brand out there, Go to Bed, that I'm really close with, Carlos and them. And they really sat me down and were like, look, this is what you can have. This is what's out there, and this is what you guys can definitely take advantage of. And me and Gav just kind of looked at each other like, let's go full force, let's do nothing. Rick's Magic Bomb was the one we really wanted to just say, okay, hey, let's collab, let's get together, because we really believe in the product, and let's get that out there. Let's let people know that DogBoxer's in the business. But I think once the whole CBD line comes out, you guys are going to be very shocked at everything that we have.
Well, you guys are right there, right in the middle of everything. When I say everything, is because we got a lot of good different brands out there, and they're making good for themselves. But DogBoxer's right there on the scene. I mean, I always see last night our guest, we had Frank Stea. He was on the show, and I always see him rocking the gear right there on the sidelines with Top Rank Boxing. He's rocking the gear, the beanie caps, the hats, and you guys got a great apparel line, man. I mean, so you guys are right there, right in the mix.
No, definitely. Big shout out to Frank. Honestly, big shout out to a lot of people at Top Rank. Top Rank's always shown us love. Golden, not to say the other ones, Golden Boy and PVC and whatnot, they definitely have as well. But Frank really, liked the gear before it was, what it is today. And he just really just donned it and just really showed love, right off the back. Stokes, the ring girls, they all have it. They all sported it for us in the past. But Frank was the real mainstay of, hey, this thing is growing, man. And we made beanies for him and hats and whatnot just to make sure he was comfortable with everything. But yeah, he's a real good dude, real solid guy. He's a real good friend of mine. And I know yesterday, you're right, he was on the show yesterday. I know he told you he was a big fan and whatnot, and he really supported you. So whatever that is, times 2, because I just want to make sure I'm on top of him a little bit. So, I'm the bigger fan and whatnot.
Oh, man, shoot. Hey, we're flattered, man. I didn't get to that question, man. Tell us, what's steak and eggs, man? What's the inside joke there?
So steak and eggs, man, I don't remember what fight we were going to, or we were getting ready to head to some fights, and Hector from Furco Boxing, who, man, you got to get that guy on the show, man. That guy's got history and stories. But
nice.
Hector, Furco Boxing, and Frank, Top Rank, myself. I want to say we were getting ready for the Toscano promotion fights here in Stockton, but we were in Sacramento. I think we were at the shop or something. I don't recall why, but we were out there. We were killing time, and I still had things to do for the fights, but we were out there, and we decided, hey, we're going to stop and grab a bite to eat. And I don't know what it was about us, but we walked in, and they sat us in the corner, and they poured us our coffee, and we sat there for 45 minutes, and nobody ever looked at us or talked to us again after that. And the whole time, me and Hector are just sitting there crying that all we wanted was steak and eggs. And Frank, being a Philly boy, he has to make a big deal about it. He's hooper and hollering like, hey, what we're doing, but he's real calm about it. We're laughing, and magically somehow, I don't know how he did it, but by the time we're leaving this place, he's leaving like pies galore. Somehow he got them to give us free pie, and I mean, it was just after that, it's just every time we see each other, every time we go somewhere with Hector or him, you know, it's the first thing we bring up is steak and eggs, steak and eggs.
Hey, trust me, I can see how that conversation went with him getting the pies and talking to the manager. There's a different side that we all have, man. So he did really well. He closed the show good.
Yeah, he definitely did, man. It was definitely memorable. I don't even know what happened with those pies, but he somehow magically got pies, and we didn't get our steak and eggs, and we you know, Hector and I still hold that against him.
Well, I'm gonna have to bring it up, man. Hey, bring some pies over here next time. I don't get any steak and eggs in time, and we'll see what happens there. I mean, Top Rank Boxing, man. I mean, they continue. They went for it. They jumped right in there right after you know, UFC. I mean, UFC said, hey, I'm going to give it a shot. Top Rank's right in there. They're staying very consistent. I mean, they're going to be on the show tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to you about their show tomorrow. But I got to ask you this, man. Fights are hard to come by. You got fighters that are hungry in general without this whole coronavirus. We should just be happy that, hey, we're getting a fight, that our name is on the card there. But I don't know what's going on exactly. What's your whole take on turning down $200K and taking yourself off a July card? I'm talking about Golden Boy and King Ryan. Is that a good move from his management, his agent, or is that just Ryan saying, okay, I want a little bit more than $200,000? Because I'm looking at $200,000, which is a lot of money to me and you, and also one step closer of getting to your title shot and getting right there back in the mix.
You know, it's kind of hard to say. Look, is Ryan happy where he's at? No. It's been well known. He's not happy. Are they treating him as the next best thing? Yes. Is he? In my opinion, I think he still needs time. But he's definitely up and comer. He's got that speed. He's an internet sensation that we really never had before.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to prove a point by turning down that 200,000, which me honestly, I think it's a mistake. I think the more you fight in a year, the better off you are. The more ring experience you have, the better off you are. Again, I think it's just him trying to prove a point. I think he's just doing it at the wrong time. You know, with Oscar replying with what he replied, and with the phone calls that kind of happened in between, I think some things were, you know, some things were said that you know, feelings were hurt, and now we're seeing the political and the drama side of it. And I said this a long time ago. I think you might have been part of the conversation too when I said it, but I said this whole COVID thing is going to bring out a lot of politics, a lot of drama, and we're going to start seeing a lot of truth of where these fighters stand with their managers and their promoters. And I think we've been seeing it little by little. Do I think right now is the best time for these fighters to be out there doing this? No. You've got fighters that are hungry. You've got fighters that are just dying to get on a card right now. I'm a huge supporter and backup of the Madera brothers. Those guys will take a fight at any moment.
I was about to say that right now, but I'll let you finish this story.
Those boys will take a fight at any moment, and those guys will whoop anybody's ass at any moment. They do not give a shit. Those guys are prepared any time of day. You know, Hector's probably gonna get pissed that I say this, but Hector's taking fights just being at a fight, and whooped the dude's ass. I mean, I seen video of it. I seen video of it. It's one of those things where those guys are hungry. A lot of these guys are hungry, and they're dying to be on these cards. And then you got guys like like Ryan that are knowing that they're going to get all these multiple tweets, all these likes, all these followers, and all this bullshit. They're willing to go with the flow of the drama.
Bro, if they offered Kilo the Kid Madera $200K to prime mainstream for a fight, he'd cut off one of his fingers and take that fight. That's the way you do this. I describe Kilo like this. He could be in a tuxedo getting ready to get married, and if somebody gives him some shit in the parking lot, guess what? The bride's going to be waiting just a little while longer because Kilo's about to kick somebody's ass and then show up and then do the whole walk to his own wedding.
I've had the pleasure and I've had the honor to work really close with Kilo. And I've had conversations where me and him are just joking and laughing and, man, just talking all kinds of shit. And then I've had conversations where I'm like, he's going to hit me. And hopefully I can get a hit before I hit the floor, but he's going to hit me, you know. But Kilo's one of those guys, you know, where, you know, he's ready, he's prepared, and
yeah,
you know, he's one of those guys that again, him and his brother, man, they're ready. Gilbert Mendoza, same thing, man. These guys are ready. These guys are hungry, and then you got these chumps like Ryan, you know, and I'm calling Ryan a chump, and I really shouldn't, because, you know, I know who he is and I know what he's about, but, you know, again, I think Ryan's just doing it at the wrong time. I really think he needs to take advantage. I think he needs to take advantage of the situation and get his name out there, get that attention back to him, and then say, all right, you know, Golden Boy, fuck off, and this is what I want. This is what it's going to be. You know, is he ready for a title shot? A true title shot, in my opinion? No, he's not.
No, I agree with you there. I think it's too early. Let his confidence grow, and you got to know when to fight your battles. Take the exposure right now. Take the 200K, or, you know, what? Just take the exposure, the opportunity to compete. Get on the microphone and say, okay, I want a title shot. Now, I mean, his flow, his momentum is going to grow even more. But you know what? You know who's the big winner out of all this? I'll take my hats off. Big congratulations, man. Virgil Ortiz, congratulations. Because he's been waiting for an opportunity, well deserving, and he's going to take care of business.
Very well deserved. Very well deserved. Very well deserved. I'm very happy for him. RGBA is really doing their thing with him. I mean, he's really going to show off and really show what he's about, and it's about time too. I think him being signed to Golden Boy was one thing, but him really showing them what he's about, it's going to be even better and even bigger. You know, it's definitely going to be a good show. It's definitely going to be something that I think everybody's going to enjoy.
By somebody simply turning down a fight, Eric, Virgil's life's about to change.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an opportunity, and he's more than ready. It's like, okay, you don't want to put this car in the race, because he's going to give everybody an ass kicking and make you push yourself, or maybe win the damn race. This is the guy you don't want in the tournament. This is the guy you don't want to face on your first fight in the wrestling tournament, and you don't sure in the hell don't want him in the race with you. But now he's in the race, he's in the mix. There's an opportunity knocking on his door.
Right. I mean, I was pumped up when Abner called out Ryan, or vice versa. I don't know how it went, but
yeah, I thought it was going to go.
I was really hoping that would happen, because I'll tell you this: Ryan's good in the first few rounds, but you get him past the second, third round, that boy's got a lot to learn. And Abner's smart. Abner would have took him to those late rounds, and then Abner would have handled it the way he handles it. I was pumped, but, you know, he did what he did. He you know, 200K is nothing to him, I guess. You know, I guess he doesn't have enough kids yet, so he's good.
He does. You know what? I'm a fan of Ryan. You know, I think he could have been the second coming to Oscar De La Hoya, but you got to know when and where. Oscar De La Hoya earned it, because he's gold medal, and the rest. I mean, his history and his story. If you know him, Oscar, you know, had a few losses in his career, but he's never ducked anybody in his fought him in his prime, out of the division, in his division. So a lot of people want to say different things about Oscar as a promoter, but as a fighter, he fought everybody inside the ring. My point is, you're not ready for those guys right there. Whenever I think of something like that, do you remember Bobby Ches? Well, they brought Bobby Ches in. He was going to fight Andrew Maynard. And they were building Andrew Maynard up and saying, okay, he's the next coming. Bobby Ches said, hold on a second. Bro, do you know who I am? I'm a veteran. I have my losses. I got my share of wins, and took that kid to school. Was never the same. Abner Meyer's been in wars. None of this stick and move. He in battles, phone booths.
It's the ring experience. The ring experience makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. You know, it's one of those things where you can put one of the best prospects in boxing with a veteran, and it doesn't mean anything. That veteran's going to school him in shit that he already knows, and things that he's already fought others in, and you'd be surprised. I think that's why I love sparring so much, because you get to see stuff like that. A lot of the history now with promoters and managers and whatnot started back in the sparring days. You know, I always use the Fernando Vargas and the Oscar De La Hoyas and the Robert Garcias and, you know, Brandon Rios, all them guys, you know, they all have history in sparring and whatnot, but it goes for stories later on in life. And these guys learned a lot from the best of the best, you know, and they use that to their experience. And some of these prospects now, they don't get that. You know, they fight in the amateurs, they get a handful of wins, and you know, their gym pumps them up and tells them they're the next best thing, and then they get in the ring, and all of a sudden it's, you know, you're stitching them up and trying to stop the cut bleeding and telling them, hey, better luck next time.
Especially when you get in there with a true professional, just someone that knows the sport inside and out, that sets traps, allows you to do things by just baiting you in, and just takes you to school. Gives you an ass kicking mentally. The next day when you're tying your shoe, you're just saying, on every area, I got my ass kicked, even the mental part.
Yeah. A loss is a big thing. A loss is a big thing. I've had fighters take a loss and it just crushed them to the point where retirement is the first thing on their mind. I've had fighters lose and be like, cool, I'm glad I lost because now I learned. You know, I think that's why training amateurs is way different than training pros. Me and Robert Garcia, we always go back and forth on it. I have a really big love of training amateurs. I just, it's a lot funner for me. The pro aspect of it, it's fun, but you know, it's business, and it's somebody's record on your line, you know, and not that amateur records don't matter or whatnot, but the amateurs build you into that character of who you're going to be in the pros. And, you know, Robert and I always go back and forth, you know, he's always, man, you know, you do some things with the amateurs that's, you know, it prepares them, because I've been able to corner with pros. I've been able to corner and be around training camps with pros, and I see certain things and I'm just like, man, I wish somebody would have honed that differently on them.
No, and that's good that you're still able to see it. A lot of these guys, Eric, they don't see it, but they still want to be in the spotlight. They still want to be in the corner. They don't know when to walk away, and sometimes they hurt the fighter. And sometimes it's very tough for the fighter to say, okay, well, I've been with my compa for 3 years. Okay, do you want to barbecue with them, or do you want to win some championships, or do you want your career to excel and take that next level? That's a very tough decision, but it's a very easy decision for somebody that's very focused and knows what he wants in his boxing career.
Definitely.
Hey, listen, you mentioned Robert Garcia. I did see the banner there inside of there, and the respect that you get inside of that gym. I've seen you guys hang out on a personal level. Man, talk to us about that relationship. When did it start? And was it always where it's at today? God, I don't even know what year it started. I've always been a fan of Robert. Always been a fan. I think I'm more a fan than a friend, and he laughs when I say that. But I've always been a fan of him, and this goes way back to even before he was a champion. I followed his career at a very young age, and me growing up in this, you know, in the Sacramento boxing scene rather than the Oxnard boxing scene. Yeah. It really took me at awe that man, you know, Oxnard had some fighters, and these guys weren't playing, you know, and I'm talking about sparring at Colonia back in the day. Seeing the caliber of guys that they had was just like, damn. And, you know, following Robert's career, you know, I was a big fan of his, and the turning point of when everything really popped off. I was a good friend of Diego Corrales, and when I found out he was going to fight Robert, my conversation with Diego was, unfortunately, man, I got Robert on this, man. You got to be careful with Robert. You know, that's a boy you never been in the ring with. You know, I don't think you're ready for that. And Diego took it to heart. It unfortunately ended a friendship. I still backed up Robert, and having that loss on Robert and having Diego win, and having that definitely thrown into my face, it showed my true, you know, my true. It showed how much I truly did believe in Robert, though. You know, I you know, even after his that loss, you know, to me, I was still a huge fan. You know, I was still, you know, amazed at what he had accomplished already, and it was just, you know, it was definitely an amazing thing. And years down the road later, way before he even started training Ramirez and stuff, he was always coming up to Fresno for fights and whatnot, and he knew I was up in Northern California still, and he was like, man, come down to Fresno, you know, come hang out, you know, come check out the fights. And by that time I was already kind of really out of the boxing scene. I was more into the MMA thing. I was dealing a lot with that and whatnot,
he was just like, man, you know, come through. You're gonna run into a lot of people, you know, a lot of old friends and whatnot. And it was, you know, and I don't know why this sticks out. It was the time that Andy Ruiz and Manuel Quesada fought, and I was a big fan of both of them. So that was the only true reason I went. I already know who I knew who Jose was already, but I really just went to go see that fight. And we hung out that night. We hadn't seen it. It had been so long. And again, this is right after the Maidana fight, the first Maidana Mayweather fight. So yeah, there was so many things going on. We talked about, and hours, and man, we were up until like 4 a.m. talking. And you know, after that, it was just like, he was just like, man, you know, you got to come around boxing more. You know, you just got to do your thing. And you know, again, being so deep into the MMA scene at that time, I think it was just time for a change. I already knew about Kilo and his brother. I already knew about a lot of the youngsters out here. You know, Gabe Flores. There was another Gabriel. I can't remember his last name. That used to fight out here as well. And I got really interested in seeing them, and I just kind of watched them grow. And same thing with the kids out in SAC. And just before you knew it, my garage was converted into a gym, and you know, I had private training with, you know, pros and amateurs in my garage going on. And every time a show was in Fresno and you know, anywhere up past Bakersfield, boom, Robert's on the phone. Hey, you're gonna come down? Hey, help me in this corner. Or hey, you know, let's get somebody on the card and whatnot. And it just kind of grew from there. And now, you know, with the brand, he's always supported the brand. You know, I'm very thankful for that. He's always supported the brand. He's always supported all my gyms, and you know, he's done a lot for me, and I'm very thankful for him, and him, and you know, all the RGBA camp. But you know, he's been probably one of the main people that really brought me back into boxing and said, man, you know, it's still here. You know, come kick it. You know, and it was a trip seeing everybody, running into a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a while time. Lee Samuels was one of the first ones that the minute I saw him, I was like, oh man, you know, I was just like, man, it's been so long since I seen him. He said it right off the back too. Man, I ain't seen you in a while. No, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, you see a lot of old faces, and you know, it was like nothing had ever stopped. You know, it was just running into the same old people, and it's been fun ever since.
Yeah, I remember a couple of times after some of the events in Fresno, I was getting ready to interview Robert, and I would see you were hit and miss. You'd say, okay, I'm going to grab a couple of things. All right, Robert, I'll meet you at the room, or hey, I'll meet you over here after this. And you were grabbing stuff, but you were always on the go. And I remember seeing you briefly. It wasn't until later on that I had the chance to work with you, sit down and have a conversation with you. And I remember we spoke, and you asked me about a certain something. I really don't want to bring it all back up again, but you asked me, and I said, okay, what does it need to be done? I made a phone call. I was texting as we were on. I said, it's done. It's already clear as we speak. It's done. Right. Took care of it over the phone, because I wanted you to know that's the way I roll. That's what I represent, and that's who I am. And ever since then, man, I mean, you would see me, and you started to trust me a little more, and started to, you know, talk a little more, and same here. Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny because I already knew who you were in a sense, and I was really happy with what you were doing, and you know, again, everything you've done, man, it's been amazing. I enjoy all your interviews, and you're doing your thing, man, and a lot of people show you love, and I love that. And I knew who you were, and Robert had already kind of told me who you were and whatnot, so I was like, cool, you know, he's a good guy, and then when that unfortunate incident happened, I was like, man, I'm about to scare the hell out of this guy, because I don't even have his phone number, but watch me get it. And sure enough, there I am texting you like, hey, clear this up on the air now. And man, you're a man of your word. Thank you. You're a man of your word, man. You cleared that up right then and there. And I was like, man, I didn't think you were going to do it. I thought you were going to do it a couple shows later, but no, you did it right then in the spot. And no need to apologize either. You didn't even apologize. That was the brilliant thing about it. You didn't apologize. You stood your ground, but you made sure that everybody understood what happened. And I couldn't say nothing after that. I was just like, man, that was perfect. Much respect to Rich on that. Hey, brother. Well, iron sharpens iron, man. It's from hanging out with you guys, man. Hey, I truly believe that. You are who you invite in your circle, and I honestly believe that. And sometimes you have to do business with certain people, and you know, I try to keep it just as business and you know, brief and settle it as possible.
No, definitely, definitely. You know, this fight game is definitely political, and
Oh man.
it's taken a lot, and it affects everything in every aspect of your life. You know, there's times being away from the kids suck, but you got to do what you got to do. You know, the many times being out in Vegas, even though I'm trying to go out there to have fun and whatnot, you know, I got to tell the boys, hey man, I got to be out here for a few hours. I got to go and I got to visit a gym. I got to go, you know, to this office. I got to do this. I got to do that. And you know, it takes up time, but in the end, I think it's all worthwhile. I think it's all worth it. It's always fun to randomly get a text message like, oh man, I was watching this fight and I seen you in the background. That's good things. You know, that's good shit back there. It's always cool, you know, or hey man, I'm watching this fight and I noticed this guy had DogBoxer on. That's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
It's definitely been an adventure. MMA is just as crazy. I'm very thankful that I had limits with MMA. You know, and the people I was introduced to in MMA knew where I came from, so it was kind of like, I only want to deal with this aspect of the fight game. You throw me on the floor and I'm going to probably, you know, get pissed. But, you know, stand up and fight, all right, is different. Let's do this. And, you know, a big shout out to Brian Watts, who unfortunately passed away at a very young age, who was original cut man for us and everything. But Brian was the one that really was like, hey, these kids don't know shit about fighting. You know, jump in the ring and see what you can do. And he gave me the opportunity. I was invited to Diaz Academy, and I was able to work with some of their guys there and just really hone the skills that these guys already had and just kind of change it up for them a little bit. And Brian really opened the doors and just said, man, do this, you know. And you know, between him and Gavin, they were just like, man, you really got to get back into this. And man, MMA, man, you know, there's a lot to be done here. And I think that's why we threw DogBoxer into MMA so fast and so quick. You know, in the MMA world, DogBoxer's very known for the sponsorship and for the gear. You know, they're not, people wear hand wraps and whatnot, but we're really known for the sponsorship and the gear. And I think that really stood out a lot, and it made a home with a lot of people. You know, one of the people that we're very proud to sponsor, Hernandez, we just did a collab with her and the Scrap Pack, and we got new hand wraps coming out with them, and just amazing things like that. We've been very blessed to work with Chelsea Handler and her crew and all the, you know, Victor and all those guys and some of the Diaz guys, and you know, they really appreciate what we do for them, but literally they know, man, everything that they're doing is just making it 10 times easier for us to market to who we want to market to, you know. And you know, and a lot of the, you know, same thing with a lot of boxing guys, you know. A funny story, you had a Cedro Ochoa on right after his fight in Fresno one time, and literally I just went out to go and support, and I ended up being in his corner for that fight, and I had a DogBoxer shirt for him, and I was like, oh man, hey, I got a shirt for you, I'm gonna put it in your bag. He was like, no, give it to me right now, I'm gonna wear it on the way out. I mean, just like that, you know, that's there you go right there. I mean, that's the love and support that these guys do, and you know, they have, and you know, and you know, it's definitely appreciated, and these guys do their thing.
No, again, it goes back to what I said. It's who you surround yourself with. Now, listen, I got to ask you this, man. Now, I'm hoping this happens. I'm hearing different things. I'm hearing Bud Crawford and maybe Manny Pacquiao. How close, or can it happen? I'm talking about Mikey Garcia and Manny Pacquiao. That's been some talks now. Mikey, he'll honor that. He's ready. I had him on the show. I asked him, and he was, let's make it happen. Sean made a comment and said that would be an awesome fight, a great matchup. Which fight to you? Which fight to you makes sense, Eric? Is what I'm asking.
Man, you're going to put me on the spot right here. Do I want to see Mikey and Pacquiao? You know, yeah, I do. I definitely want to see that fight. Do I want to see Pacquiao lose that fight? Yeah, because it's going to happen. Mikey's not going to hold back. Mikey's going to really show you guys what he has with that fight. I have no doubt about it. And but I really do want to see Crawford and Pacquiao. I really do. To me, Crawford is just one of those fighters that no matter how much I study him, I just don't get him. I mean, he's got power that I just don't see, and all of a sudden it's there in front of you. You know, his defense is just, oh, they're going to get him with this, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, you know, he's on the totally opposite side of the fucking ring. You know, in the business side of it, yeah, I do want to see Mikey and Pacquiao. I do want to see that loss for Pacquiao. On the political side of it and on the growth side of it, I do want to see the Crawford and Pacquiao fight. But again, you know, all in all, the fight I do want to see, and though I think is more deserving of it, is I do really want to see Ramirez Pacquiao.
Wow, you know what? I used to bring that up every now and then. That hasn't been brought up in a while. Probably from I'm not going to quote anybody, but I would see possibly from the Pacquiao camp. Okay, it's not worthy of that just yet. I think that can be a great fight. That can happen in one fight, where you know, if that Josh Taylor doesn't happen, that would have a great storyline behind that. I'll tell you. Yeah,
and again, I think that's just more for being a fan of both of them. That's why I want to see it. You know. But, you know, again, for the business aspect, I think the Mikey fight would probably be smartest. And then, you know, just the political side of it, you know, either way, to me, between Crawford and Mikey, Pacquiao is going to get the loss. Am I a big fan of Pacquiao? I'm on the fence. But again, it's been one of those things where it's been said, it's been, you know, it's been in conversations left and right. Everybody's been trying to go back and forth on it. I've seen stuff. People have asked me left and right, but to me, it's just, you know, honestly, I you know, it's one of those things where, in the end, everybody says, well, just have him fight Floyd again, and just, you know, just so you can get some money and retire.
So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, or a lot of things that a lot of people are unaware of, and that's just the sport of boxing in general.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, that we're talking about the tail end of a legend's career. Let's talk about the beginning of possibly one of the terrors at 140, 135, and I believe tomorrow's fighting at 130, and that's young Gabriel Flores Jr., who'll be fighting tomorrow on ESPN Live. What's your whole take on the whole, when I want to say new Flores team, because with the addition of Jay Prince?
Jay Prince. You know, for whatever reason, they had their reasons to move, and you know, Gabe Sr. is a smart man. You know, he knows the science, he knows the politics, he knows a lot about boxing, and for him to make that move, it's for a reason. You know, and you know, it's whatever's going to grow his son. It's whatever's going to make his son that much better of a fighter. Gabe himself, man, he is just, that's the boy you got to watch out for. That's the boy you got to watch out for. There's times where I think, man, he's going to struggle in this fight, and before you know it, you know, the opponent's on the floor. You know, sorry about that.
Hey, wait, you got a dog? What's his name?
I'll tell you about that dog later. I think my neighbors are jumping around. No, but you know, back to Gabe. Gabe's one of those guys that you know, he's definitely proven where he needs to be at, and you know, I think him signing as one of the youngest to Top Rank was an amazing feat in all, and you know, he's going to be the guy to watch, and I would say give him a year. Hopefully less than a year, but I would say give him a year, and you're going to see a strap on him. You know, he's gunning for it, and you know, it's there for him. You know, I think tomorrow, I think the MGM bets are all on Gabe. You know, I think the marks are there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
that's the fight you're into.
Yeah, I mean, no, you know, nobody's going to make bets like that unless they're very positive on the fighter and have that faith in the fighter. And that just goes to show how much people have faith in Gabe and how much they know he's ready.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, he's very young. He's starting to mature even more, but his boxing IQ continues to grow and grow. You know, a lot of people, they've asked me, well, they've went, and I went to bat for him when they would say, well, he's not knocking people out. He's not doing any of this, and he's not doing anything. And you know what I said? I said, well, one thing he does know how to do is he knows how to go the distance. He knows how to go these rounds. These guys, you may get the second round, third round knockout, but are you getting the rounds in? Are you getting the work? If you go into a long fight, Flores knows how to go the distance. He knows how to go and get these victories and pull them out of his hat.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Gabe. He's ready. He's always ready. That boy trains like you wouldn't believe. I've seen some of his training camp, and it's just like, it's intense, you know, and they're always changing things. They're always trying new things. And they're, like I said, man, Senior is a genius. That guy knows what he's doing. And, you know, he takes in what other coaches say and other trainers say, and he takes that in, he absorbs it, and he's like, okay, let's see what we can do with Gabe. You know, he knows what Gabe can do, and Gabe trusts, you know, he has that trust with his, you know, with his dad, his trainer, and that takes a, you know, that makes a hell of a fighter. That makes a hell of a fighter. And, you know, like, you know, I think tomorrow is going to be a big proving point for him. It's been a while since he's been back in the ring, but in front of people, but that boy's never stopped. His training's never stopped. He's been ready, and you know, easy work for him tomorrow, in my opinion. And tomorrow's fighter, you know, his challenger, you know, it ain't no taxi driver, it ain't no cherry picker, it ain't none of that. This boy's a fighter too. This boy's got history. This boy's got ring experience. So, you know.
Well, before we move on, man, before we call it a day, I got to ask you, man, what's your take, and do you think we're going to see Kaepernick play in the NFL this year?
I really do hope so. You know what? Kaepernick kneeled down for what he believed in, and a lot of people gave him shit.
Yep.
You had people in similar situations do similar things, and because of, and it's sad to say, because of the race, it wasn't taken that way, and it was more of a political statement. It wasn't a protest. It was a political statement. I think now the NFL realized, shit, you know, we fucked up. We took this man's statement and we used it against him, and we blackballed him from the NFL. And it's a shitty thing to say, but now the NFL sees it as a marketing gimmick, and now watch, that's what they're going to want. You know,
exactly.
The good thing is Kaepernick, that again, that boy ain't stopped, you know, practicing. You know, he's been up on his game. He knows what's going on. I don't think we'll see him on the West Coast. I think we'll probably see him on the East Coast team.
Yeah.
I do think we will see him, but we probably won't see him playing as much as we would like. But I do think he will be back in the NFL.
Hey, man, I just want to see.
We'll get his ass in the gym.
There you go. He's an athlete, man. He's an athlete. One thing that stands out with me is I remember he was asked to throw out the first pitch. And usually quarterbacks or whoever it is, tennis players, they'll come off of the mound and they'll kind of just throw the pitch, everybody a clap. When he was asked, he got up on the bump, jeans and everything, the wind up, kick back off the stretch, and just let it rock. And I said, man, that guy's a freaking athlete, man.
Yeah, didn't they clock the pitch?
Yeah, they did. High 90s.
They clocked it. Yeah, it was in the high 90s and shit. Yeah. That boy don't play. I mean, yeah. No, I mean, you know, I think at the time everybody kind of looked at Kaepernick like, man, what the hell are you doing? You're gonna fuck up your career doing this shit. But again, he used his platform and he was able to voice his platform that in a way that a lot of NFL players weren't willing to do at the time. But once they saw the attention it was getting, I think a lot of people were like, fuck that, you know, we're gonna back you up. We're gonna, you know, we have your back in this, and the more kneeling and the more in this, and then all the drama started, and again, politics plays a big part, and before you knew it, he wasn't playing anymore.
It's crazy the way life, just the way it turns around on you, man. We went from, okay, I want nothing to do with him, to we're going to welcome him back with open arms. And he's a smart one. Has it today? Statement or nothing.
Yeah, and the shitty part about it is it's the publicity that the NFL needs and wants. And guess what? They're going to get it now.
Yeah, they are. Hey, man, anything that I didn't cover or talk about, because we can go on and on and on, and that's why I want to keep bringing you back, man. And when we get inside studio, because there's nothing like a live studio to watch that reaction and just watching you and knowing you're going to react, and having ESCOVEDO. Unfortunately, we were unable to get him on the line, but man, ESCOVEDO, the UFC veteran, the Apache kid, is fire, my man. I mean, Richard Ortiz gets on the mic, Cole's on here. It's fire.
I remember when he fought, I think I was there when he fought Uriah, I believe. And
yeah,
I think he fought Uriah, and I remember him. I was like, man, this boy good. But Uriah's my Sacramento boy, so I couldn't be a groupie for him or anything. But I was much respect to Cole, and I actually have some gear for him. I've been meaning to give you guys. I got gear for both of you guys. So, but
right
definitely.
on, man. Sounds good. So, how do we keep in contact? And how do we follow you? And how can we get some of that gear? If the viewers want to get some of that gear, how do they order it?
Definitely hit up all the Instagram pages. We have DogBoxer Nation, DogBoxer Athletics, and then my personal is dogboxer.eric. Give us a follow. We tend to post up everything that we have going on, events that we attend, a lot of the fighters that we sponsor and whatnot. We tend to post a lot of a lot of the new merch that's coming out. We got some hats coming, some newer style hats and different things, and we definitely try to show as much love as we can to everybody that supports it. We always try to repost every photo that we see. We got the tape coming out again. We got more hand wraps coming out, hoodies and whatnot. I mean, you just name it, we got it. It's definitely been a awesome experience. But we're definitely looking to go out more and do more things. And again, I think the CBD line is going to take us in a little bit different direction, but you'll definitely still see, the brand out there and the support that we get from everybody that supports us. And again, we're very thankful for everyone that supports us.
Well, you know what, man, I know these guys are going to continue to rock the gear and support you, and it's even going to grow. It's even going to get better, because like I said, iron sharpens iron, man. And I don't even like to use that term, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. I don't like to use that. I do things without expecting a return, and God just going to give it to you. Because if we put it on what we think, we put a price or we put a figure on what we think. When God does it, He's going to give you only what you can handle, my man. And to watch you grow, and to know that this gear is going to grow, your career is going to grow, and the passion and desire and love that you have for the sport of boxing and MMA, man, it's priceless, man. And to do what you do, man, hey, if you do what you love, man, you never work a day in your life.
Nah, definitely, man. Definitely very blessed to be in the position that I am and know the people that I know. Like I said, not very often and never in my wildest dreams would I ever think, man, you're going to be sitting next to some people, and these people are the biggest names in sports. Never did I think, man, so-and-so is going to text you and it's going to be that guy that everybody wants to talk to, after a win or after a loss, being able to congratulate certain people personally with, personal cell phone numbers and whatnot. It's definitely taken us, Gavin, myself, and Lance, is definitely taken us on a roller coaster ride. And Lance again, man, he's been a key part of this. He's really the driving force in it all. And, he's out in Vegas and he's doing his thing out there, but he's always the one that we always just go back to and think, man, what do you think, Lance? We're doing good. And he's just the guy that pats us on the back. He's like the guy we look up to, and he's like, yeah, you guys are doing good. Keep doing it. Once we get his approval, me and Gavin are like little kids, like all all excited and whatnot. But, you know, Lance really kind of paved the way for us and said, look, man, you guys are doing big things with this. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it moving, and, you know, do your guys' thing. And Gavin and myself, we just went buck wild with it, and it is to what it is right now. You know, like I said, we started off with, you know, mainly just wanting to put it on people's shorts and you know, just have a photo that we all had something to do with on somebody's shorts, just so we could laugh at it. And now look at it, you know, I mean, even from the slideshow that you guys are showing right now, you got some of the biggest names in sports wearing it. And it's just been a blessing.
I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to let you go, but I cannot let you go, man. Give the viewers and the fans and followers, man, that tour that you gave me before the show started, man. Show us some stuff real quick. Let's see what we're rocking with right here.
Let me see right now. So just a bunch of random things that I've had over the years. You know, the controversial gloves from the fight and my Donna fight. These gloves right here, these are actually my son's gloves. You name a fighter, and I guarantee he's got his signature on them, from Lomachenko all the way down to Alex the Nail, Triple G. He's got Kilo the Kid. He's got Valdivia. You name it, he's got it. I mean, that boy collects more memorabilia than I do. If anything, this room's full of stuff right now. Just, man, you got trophies everywhere. You've got WBC belt. You've got these little WBC belts that Nancy hooked it up with. Thank you, Nancy, for those for my kids. Man, just random things. I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I had an artist draw that up for me.
Nice.
Again, this goes all the way back. Look at how young Jose was right here.
Oh man, there you go.
That's his youngster days. Original fight posters from some of these fighters. You know, and this is just my garage. You know, I got a lot of stuff in the house and whatnot. And, been very, very blessed. I have WBO and IBF honorary belts. Been very blessed to be in this business, man.
Hey man, I'm gonna have to join you in that garage for a cold one day, man. I'll just sit there and just look at it like a kid in a candy store.
Definitely, brother. Whenever, you're more than welcome to come up, man. Especially where I live, you know, it's a hidden gem. Lodi, California. Robert always makes fun of me when I tell him Lodi, California, because he says it wrong. But you know, it's wine country. If you love wine, this is the place to be.
Well, I'm gonna have to make that trip, man. I definitely got to have you back on the show. You know what? It's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you on, man. Long time of waiting, man. I mean, we have some things scheduled. They kind of fell out. Today we hit a speed bump, man, but we made it happen. And it's only the beginning, my man, because I see us, like I said, I'm strong on this. Iron sharpens iron, and sky's the limit, man. And, you know, I'm going to give you a personal call probably later on this evening or tomorrow sometime, and respect your dinner time. But pleasure having you. Hey, Rich Ortiz here, your host of the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass Podcast, the only voice that matters, and it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.